Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nav.it files and another week with Erin and I. Erin, let's start things off as we normally do. What's your self-care topic for the day?
Of course, it's so hard.
And you're in a coffee shop right now, aren't you?
I'm in a coffee shop because today was a day of constant coffees and investor conversation and advisory sessions. But my real talk is I let all of those investors pay for my coffees.
So that's your self-care or your real talk?
It's my self-care. Sorry, self-care and real talk for being an entrepreneur. Like when they offer to pay for things, let them. Don't play this like game. I'm like, no, let me get it. No, you guys have money. I am the founder and startup person, so you pay for it.
I love it. Perfect. And maybe
I have 3 coffees. 3
too. You've had 3 coffees today?
Well, the third one I went to tea because it's like you can only take so much.
Yeah, everybody hold on tight because this is going to be an interesting
Second
episode.
one was decaf. It went caffeine, decaf, tea.
But mind you, my sleep book has told me that decaf has 30% caffeine in it.
Wait, no, that can't be real. Please no.
Please, yes. Yeah,
I did have it.
Stanford, he's a Berkeley professor, so I'm pretty sure he's not lying to me.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I did have it before 2 o'clock. I had those 2 before 2 o'clock, but after 2, I'm pretty good about going herbal tea because I will be calling you at 4 o'clock in the morning and be like,
I'm like really concerned.
Yeah, I'll be texting you.
And I have now, my self-care is we installed blackout shades.
Oh, best thing ever.
Best thing.
It
was the first weekend. So it's now on like Thursday. It was the first weekend I slept past like 8.
It is 110% worth. And can I tell you, hashtag having motherhood, get them for your children. I do not know why people don't do that for your children. Like get them for children. They sleep 3 more hours. Like there is no reason you shouldn't have blackout blinds for like everyone in your house.
Yeah, and I was on, so I painted the guest room. I painted the guest room this weekend, which was like a whole nother to do. And
well done. Yes.
Crazy time. Secondary self-care. There was a deal going on at my spa, so I not only got a facial. So what I did, I strategically did this because like I'm very OCD. So when I know I'm going into like a artsy project, I like need to get things done right away. And so this is something that can't get done right away. Like I knew it was going to take the whole weekend. So I strategically booked not just a facial, but also a massage. So I had the facial at 5 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh my God.
I had the massage at 5 o'clock on Sunday. And it was like $200. Both of them were 80 minutes. And I was like, you know what?
Oh my God.
Solid win for the week.
Totally, because you probably saved so much money doing the painting yourself instead of having someone else do it.
Yeah, I spent $35.
So I don't, oh my God, that's brilliant. I don't understand. Is that like the incentive to do it? Is your 5 o'clock? Like
it was the incentive, yes, to get things done, but it was also like I get so pent up and anxiety driven that like I knew I was going to have a come down. And obviously I had worked out in the morning before the painting happened, so I needed to come down at night. And so that was where the come downs. And they were awesome.
Brilliant. Totally worth it. Well organized.
Thank you. But the reason why I got on this topic was because I just ordered blinds or shades or curtains rather, for the second bedroom. And I got them on Amazon for $25.
Oh my God, brilliant.
So anybody can have blackout curtains.
Yes. That's where I got
blackout curtains.
Totally worth
it. Goal in for next month on your Nav.it app.
I go so far with my kids is to like, there's a little bit of light at the top, you know? Yeah. I stick blankets in there. Like on top, so it is like it is a cave.
People are gonna think that you like are stealing him in or something.
Sorry, he sleeps 12 hours. He sleeps 11 to 12 hours a night.
And
thank you very much.
Like kids
and he needs it. He needs it. He is a much nicer person when he gets all that.
Yeah, God.
So am I. Not 12, but yeah. Anyways, okay, awesome. Okay,
marketing play.
Tell me about marketing. Yeah.
So I'll keep it pretty brief. The theme of the day for marketing is don't be afraid to change things up. So we've seen healthy growth rates across our social channels because we're relatively new, but we're starting to see kind of like a stagnant decline, but like middle ground. And we're seeing engagement is still higher than kind of industry standards, but it's not really like high enough for our liking. And we're still having some people unfollow. So the whole thing was getting a little stale and kind of anxiety driven, seeing back to my anxiety laden mind.
So, and hashtag follow the data. That was one of your
hashtag follow the data. Data never lies.
Data never lies.
Men might, but data won't.
But data won't.
So I went back to our team and I was like, team, I know you're doing a great job, but I feel like we could be doing better. And what are we doing wrong? You know, we've hired a new digital team recently and they're wonderful. And so I think it was, you know, a mix of like me coming on, the transitions that were happening in the summer, early fall. Like there's just some things that we needed to address. And so our social media manager, Emily Elmore, is amazing. And I'm excited for her to see this because I cannot speak more highly of her. And she basically sat down with me on a Saturday morning and we were like adding ideas to this Google Doc. And so what we did was we were like, okay, what are the brands that we love that do something totally different? And this was her idea. She was like, well, we're only creating secondary content. So like any researcher out there, right? We're only regurgitating the same stuff that are circulating the web, whether or not those be funny GIFs or whatever they are. Like we're repurposing the same kinds of things that everybody else in this space are talking about. So instead, let's ask ourselves why we're not producing more organic content. Well, we're not producing more organic content because we're a software, and it's kind of hard to produce organic content if you're not doing shelling out thousands and thousands of dollars on photo shoots. And so my first reaction, because I come from enterprise software, when she said this, I was like, okay, but like, how are we going to be cost effective on a photo shoot? She's like, you don't need a photo shoot.
No photo shoot.
I was like, okay, let me find models, you know? And she's like, Maya, no, shut it down. So she's like, think of the brands that we love. And so we wrote down a couple of them. She's like, look at the brands on your Instagram right now that you follow and that are producing organically. And I listed them all out and I was like, none of them have high quality photos. Most of them are female focused brands, but all of them are, most of them are changeable products, but all of them are brands that I love because I love their brand voice. And I love their brand voice because of their raw, authentic nature. It doesn't feel like a Kim Kardashian sponsored ad, right?
Right.
So that was the direction that we kind of pulled into, all by Emily's guidance. And I think we've come up with a really exciting strategy that completely overhauls our existing content strategy, which, back to the topic for the day, is a little nerve-wracking. But I'm really excited to see a change. And the cool thing about social is like you can flip your strategy for 4 weeks, see what happens, and like if you lost 2 followers and it didn't work, then okay, you just go back to doing what you were doing and figuring something else out. It's not that big of a deal. So
I love it. And I think that we're in it, like, it's also from a startup perspective, we're at a stage where we can be really creative and try different things, because we have a good following, but we haven't put a lot of money into it. So it's also now where, like, how do we build that kind of consistent strategy? And now across me, like what we've been doing basically last month is just like new brand guide, like everything that we've talked about on this. Yeah. And now this is like the final nail in the beautiful coffin of joy and happiness.
Seriously, it like feels like a level of clarity, because Erin and I have been going back and forth like, why did we only get 60 signups today? Like, what's going on? And also, it makes sense. It's like people need content that differentiates you as a brand, as providing something tangible as a product rather than just another media outlet.
Totally. And our problem has been we are a female forward lifestyle brand with a product. So I think those two things are complicated, because do you play the product side only, or do you play? And so you guys have found, I'm really excited about this new strategy.
Me too. Anyway,
Erin,
what are we talking about in the financial world today?
Okay, so today we're talking about something we get asked about a lot, which is 401ks and matches, and then also rollovers and things like that. So basic 101 401k is a investment vehicle. I hate these words, which basically means it's a way it's a way to invest your money.
Right.
And a 401k specifically through an employer. So the employer sets it up. Usually they're paying a lot of the fees for it, though there is often money given, like the employee pays them. Yeah. But it has to be kind of originated through the employer. And we all know, like, I mean, we all have basically heard of those, but the big thing is companies, to incentivize, good employees and to keep them, they will offer a 401k match. So sometimes you get just a 401k that you can contribute to, and they don't match your contribution. But often, especially the big guys, they will match it, and it's usually up to, depends, but 3, 4, 5%. Sometimes I've heard 6, but that's pretty high. So you put 3% of your salary into it, they'll match another 3%, so now you have 6. And so the big thing that people talk about a lot is women, only 28% of women of our, millennial demographic max their 401ks. And that's something that, there are two things to it. One, even if they're not matching, it's this money that's set aside that if you're young, especially in your 20s, even 30s, like your only advantage is time for you to grow your money. So you should be even if it feels really tight and it's complicated, the ideal is to start investing as early as possible so you can get that return over the 40 years before you retire. And so put the money in if they have it, and then secondarily, if they have a match, that's basically, people say it's free money, like advisors love to say it's free money. It's not free money. It is literally money the company has budgeted for you in your salary and in your benefits package. So it's your money. If you're not putting that money, they get to take the money that they had already set aside for you and do something else with it. So
they want you to say don't match.
They want to. Well, they kind of do. They do because they save money, but also at the same time, the government, which is an interesting thing, the U.S. government, maybe it was probably 40 years ago, they reduce the amount C-suite or VP and above can put into their 401k. It's only based on the percentage of what the lower income workers put. So they have incentive. So older, which is, it actually worked, like C-suites have incentive to educate all of their staff to match and to put money in, because then they can put more in, which is, only benefits them.
Sure, right? But everybody knows that, nobody knows, but everybody knows that C-suite's not relying on their salary or their additional benefits to actually get them to the 1% tier. And what people don't know is that 401ks were never supposed to be your primary source of income in your retirement.
Yes.
So it's like a little chunk that gets allocated out, but it's also not supposed to be your end all be all.
No, totally. But the incentive for the C-suite is if 3% of their employee and their income can be so much. Like if they put 3%, that 3% they're getting is a big chunk. But you're right. It was all like, I mean, that was back in the day though, when this was built, was like pensions were a real thing. Other forms of Social Security was being built out. So there are other forms of government assistance plus this 401k. Right. So now what's happened is, of course, Social Security isn't huge. There are all kinds of doomsday. I think it will stick around, but it's still something that isn't going to be perfect for everyone. It's not always be enough. And then you have the 401ks. And so the secondary thing, then this is why we talk about, is like, if you are really preparing for retirement, other investments are really important to think about in your 20s. And whether that be, you love real estate, but also, your own brokerage account, an IRA, Roth IRA, those kind of other retirement vehicles, so that you're diversified. You're the queen of talking about diversification. This is like the key thing here. But the core is, if you have a 401k, contribute to it and get the match.
I love it. Thank you for going over that. I'm going to dive into Roths and IRAs in general. And we'll definitely be doing that on our podcast, which we're starting to record season 2.
Yay!
So we're launching season 2 in January. So everybody get excited about that. And in the meantime, maybe we'll pepper in some more retirement funds and conversations around the different opportunities and how to migrate things over soon to come here. But I want to keep it short and sweet. So lastly, I want to end with a real talk today.
Yes.
Erin, do you have a real talk?
I think this is all yours.
Okay. So I had a very frustrating interaction that I'm reflecting on as we're starting this episode, and realizing that this happens all the time. And I think I just need to let it go and let it be. So I'd love to hear everybody else's thoughts about it. But the topic is when to just let men do their thing. And specifically, I have been having this issue with our new refrigerator that's in our new house that they just put in, and it's periodically making a horrible sound. So the tech did the sound on my phone. I went to the local appliance guy where we had bought the, appliance from. And I was like, listen, this is a sound. Okay, well, it's an ice makers make noise, lady. And I was like, okay, but I think it's coming from the fridge. I've recorded the thing, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, well, here's this guy. You have to call this guy. And mind you, he's the owner of this big appliance store. I live in a local town. Like, F off. Okay, help me. Like, you call me. You call the guy. So he writes down the number. I call the guy. His voicemail is full. His mailbox is full. I'm like, okay, it's a Friday. We can live with it through the weekend. I will call again on Monday. I had called periodically every hour on the hour. And the guy, it goes straight to voicemail now. And so finally, at like 4:00, my dad calls me. My dad is a traditional boomer who just like wants to help a lady out. He's totally a nice guy, but he's also like, he's a boomer, right? He like thinks
he wants to help
the women in his life, which is amazing, and I love him dearly for that. But
completely.
I'm like, Dad, I hate to bother you with this, but like, have you bought from this company before? Like, we're really having trouble with it. Dad helped us buy the fridge and some of the appliances, so like he kind of feels responsible from the get-go. And I was like, I've gone to the guy. It's right by my office in town. He was like, he gave you a number. He didn't just call them. He's never done that for me before. We've been for the whole house. Blah blah blah. So I hang up. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. Like, I'll call tomorrow. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll go back. And I get a text from my mom like 2 minutes later after I hang up from Dad. Dad's on the phone with the appliance guy. Like, he is pissed. And I was like, at first I was like, God damn it. He's going to get it done. I felt annoyed because Dad's going to get the job done when it's like my house, my appliance. Like, I want to be in the situation.
They're not taking you seriously
either. They're not taking me seriously because like, what does a young woman know about appliances? Yet I'm supposed to be like naked and barefoot in the kitchen, using set appliances every day, right?
Supposed to use them. Wait, so did you get a call
on this interaction? It's like, I love Dad. I don't know. He hasn't texted me back yet because I got on the phone with you. But the point was like, when do you just admit that sometimes
they're going to get it done?
Yeah, sometimes
it's going
to get it done. And like me getting angry is not going to help the situation.
Yeah, definitely not. I do feel like, I mean, there are times, that's a really complicated one because you also need, like we also talk about, like you need help in life.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it from a gender lens, it's really bloody annoying. And it just feeds into all the stereotypes. And what's the use of those men in our lives anyways? Like, it's like, I totally get it. Get it.
Like,
I'm annoyed for you.
God came to my rescue, but like,
I'm still annoyed for you.
Had to come to my fucking rescue.
Yes, they need to take that seriously. Well, let's see. You have to report back tomorrow. You don't know if he actually came to your rescue. So let's report back tomorrow on what the conclusion is.
Notes tonight if he came.
If it works.
Also leaves us, and I know we're running out of time, but as you recall last week, we were starting to note times in the day at which we feel guilty because 95% of women feel guilt at least once in a 24
I felt guilt today.
When did you feel guilt?
I love this advisor, but she loves a certain restaurant and it's downtown with really bad parking. And so I'm like, we had our team call.
Yeah.
And so I'm like running between like getting there, being on the call, and I like get there exactly at, the 1 minute before our meeting, but there was no effing parking. There's no parking. And so I was feeling enormous guilt that now I'm late, and I'm like texting her like as I'm driving, like trying to find, but there was enormous, and she was totally cool. And she has been late to other meetings of ours, so I didn't feel that bad, but still, like my job is to be on time. And I like Seattle's are one ways, and then I was like 7 minutes late, and I had texted her before, but still, it's still like
I know. I think there's a level, it's an interesting one we can do. Like there's a level of guilt that we feel with other women and then which we feel with other, I think I feel more guilty towards women.
If you're like that in that situation.
Well, so like I had a guilty one today too, because you and I were on the phone and I work in this, it's not really a co-working space, but I work in the Wild Rye headquarters, which is this amazing outdoor like technical apparel brand for women, because like no technical apparel is ever made for women. So I'll put their link in the show notes. You can also access them on the app. Specific for Nav.it users, but I was there and they're hosting a holiday now, so they're like, it's a new space.
Yes. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, their intern starts hammering right next
I heard it.
I know you heard it. And I was like, and I was on the phone with Erin, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I just looked at her. I was like, are you fucking kidding? And I grabbed my coat and I walked outside because Erin and I were, believe it or not, having a serious conversation.
It was legit and important. We got a lot done.
And it was one of those things. And then I was outside. By the way, it's like 15 degrees here. I was outside
in the snow.
In the snow, which was fine. It was like nice to be outside. But I came back and I felt really apologetic. And it was at that point that I realized my guilt was not warranted. Like I felt guilty whilst we were on the call. And then I came back and I was like, no, you should feel sorry. You were in the wrong. And I was like, it was okay that I emoted against you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then later, the guy who has an office next door came in because I guess he had also yelled.
And he asked them not to.
No. So he had come in when I had gotten back and he's like, okay, you guys can start hammering again, because he was on call.
He had asked. So did you just give him like a dirty look and left, or did you say something?
No, I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Oh, you said that?
Yeah.
I love you. Love you. Yeah, I mean, co-working spaces are hard. And I think you're totally right. Like, we have this guilt around keeping everything peaceful and everyone's happy. But in reality, like, you gotta stand up for yourself sometimes. So it's a complicated balance.
Never feel guilty for standing up for yourself, especially when you know you're in the right.
God damn it. Love it.
All right, we will leave you all there. We'll join you back tomorrow. Have a good evening, and thanks so much for watching.
Bye, y'all.